So the theme here is developing the next generation of global leaders. And I told Mr. Relon Nasret, I have taken that theme out from Rosedale Academy because we are now partners together. So Rostel and AIBS have a similar theme that we would like to follow. So my presentation will focus on very specific areas, just 3 points. I told what is OSSD, and I want to make a comparison. The OSSD, the regulatory model or the framework which you would like to know. And OSSD, is it globally recognized? How well is it recognized? And I'll share you some examples. So what is Ontario Secondary School Diploma? It is actually a secondary school qualification from the Ontario Ministry of Education in Canada. Now, the Ontario Ministry of Education is the regulatory body for education in the province of Ontario in Canada. So if you want to know a bit more about OSSD, I'm just sharing you a screenshot of the Ministry of Education Ontario website, and you can go into the frequently asked questions for students, and in the drop-down area, you will also find some more details. But in a nutshell, this is an equivalent qualification to what you're familiar with, the A-levels. Now, the A-levels is pretty familiar to people like us from South Asia or from the continent, UK and so on. But in Americas, especially in North America and in Canada, there's a similar qualification, which is known as the secondary school diploma. So in America, you get secondary school diplomas. In Canada, you get secondary school diplomas. And one such is what we have chosen here today is the Ontario Secondary School Diploma, which you can consider it as something similar to A-level. And like the A-levels may be the Sri Lankan national curriculum, which we call the GCE A-level. And then, of course, some students have studied the edXL A-levels and the Cambridge A-levels. The OSSD is accepted by almost all the international universities as an entry qualification to the first year in an undergraduate degree program. So that is very unique. This is not a foundation certificate or anything. This is a regulated qualification. That's why I said I'm going to talk a little more about the regulatory framework. And like the A-levels, in Sri Lanka, the qualification is owned and awarded by the Ministry of Education in Sri Lanka. So similarly, the OSSD is owned and awarded by the Ontario Ministry of Education. Now, the OSSD that is delivered at AIBS jointly with Rosedale Academy from Canada is actually delivered over a period of 10 to 12 months, which is a very short duration. And awarded. But if you look at the entire Ontario Secondary School Diploma, it runs from grade 9 to grade 12, so almost 4 years program, similar to Sri Lanka. So in Sri Lanka, we have the intermediate testing level called the ordinary level or the O level. So you start studying for the O level from about grade 9, then you do 10 foundation certificate or 11. This is a regulated, and then you sit for the O levels. And once you get through the O levels, then you do another 2 years of studying and you do the A levels. So the Ontario Secondary School Diploma or the secondary school curriculum is similar, but they do test you on a yearly basis. So in this instance, what we have done is, especially the Rosedale Academy has gone to the Ontario Ministry of Education in Canada and said, we've got students who have completed the O-level curriculum in Sri Lanka. So can we get them some exemptions And they said, yes, of course we can, because you have studied up to a point. So what you get for your O-level qualifications is what we call the PLAR, Prior Learning Assessment and Recognition. So if you take the entire Ontario Secondary School Diploma over the 4 years, you will have something like 30 course units or 30 credits. That's their terminology. You have to follow. But when we do OSSD through AIBS, you will get up to about 23 credits exemption from the Ontario Ministry because of your O-level curriculum. So importantly, I need to highlight that you need to have your O-level qualification, good O-level qualification, and also you must have some documentary evidence to prove that you have studied in a school from grade 9 to 11. So your report cards, your school assessments are going to be very important. So therefore, you don't have to do the entire 4 years. You will complete the entire OSSD qualification if you have O-levels, and if you have studied from year 9 to 11, you'll be doing only the grade 12 subjects and roughly about 7 course units, and you will be completing the entire qualifications within about 10 to 12 months. So that is what is very attractive in the Ontario Secondary School Diploma delivered jointly by AIBS and Rostel. Now, it's very important to also understand that this Ontario Ministry of Education curriculum is consistently evaluated as one of the top 5 education systems in the world. Now, this evaluation is done by a group called, it's an assessment board called PISA, Program for International Student Assessment. It's a triennial international study that evaluates the education systems globally, not only Ontario. It looks as Europe, it looks as USA, and it's done by the OECD, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. So this is very credible qualification, evaluated very stringently on a regular basis. So the latest results, I have shown you the OECD PISA website. So if you want, read up on that website as well. It's a very, very detailed, comprehensive analysis, the processes. And I believe the latest results that are available on the website is the results PISA evaluations done in 2018. So just for your information, you can read up and see how stringent all these evaluators are in evaluating the Ontario Ministry of Education curriculum. So you have nothing to worry in terms of the quality of this qualification. Now, the regulatory model, the point 2 I spoke of that I'm going to speak, is also very interesting. So like the Ministry of Education in Sri Lanka, the Ontario Ministry of Education owns the OSSD qualification. So therefore, they will be the one to issue the qualification certificate. So you get a certificate from the Ontario Ministry of Education, countersigned by the school. Now, the awarding body or the qualification owner cannot deliver the qualification. You need to have delivery centers or delivery partners who are registered secondary school. So Rosedale Academy in Canada is one such institution, and they are licensed by the Ontario Ministry of Education to run as a secondary school. And typically, these institutions, including Rosedale Academy, gets inspected, supervised very periodically. And they have a renewal process every year. So you need to go before the ministry and say, I'm ready to deliver next year, and then they will give you the endorsement, right? And also what is important is the quality, maintaining the quality. So the Ontario Secondary School Diploma can be assessed or graded only by Canadian teachers who are certified teachers. This certification is done by the Ontario College of Teachers, OCT. So you can even browse the website link, which I have said, oct.ca. So anybody who is marking your exams or grading your exams and assessments have to be an OCT certified teacher. And such OCT certified teachers are with our partner Rosedale Academy. Now, what does AIBS do? AIBS has got into a partnership with the Rosedale Academy. We have a very comprehensive partnership agreement. Under that, Rosedale allows the Sri Lankan AIBS teachers to teach the curriculum. So the curriculum is provided by Rosedale Academy. AIBS faculty members will teach. And these teachers are certified by Rosedale. So therefore, in order to even teach, you need to have some sort of certification from a Canadian perspective. And that is what Rosedale Academy has done. They have trained, they have certified our AIBS teachers, and they are now capable of teaching the curriculum provided by the Ontario Ministry and the Rosedale Academy. So please remember, the teaching, the in-class teaching is done by Rosedale certified teachers at AIBS, and all the assessments, the exams, the marking and the grading are done by OCT certified teachers sitting out in Canada. So there is a lot of independency. On top of it, of course, AIBS is a TVEC. You know what TVEC is, the Tertiary and Vocational Education Commission in Sri Lanka. We are registered, so we can have some regulatory and supervisory control from the TVEC in Sri Lanka as well. So that's broadly the regulatory framework under which the OSSD is delivered in Sri Lanka. Right. Now I've talked about Rosedale Academy. Now it's very important for you to validate the Rosedale Academy's credentials. So who are they? They're headquartered in Toronto. They're an Ontario Ministry of Education approved and inspected school. So when the ministry gives a approval, they have a ministry ID called the BSID, and that's the number. And Rosedale Academy is very much a transnational education delivery partner. So they have multiple partnerships across the globe, more than 30 international partners, and they deliver more than 3,000 course enrollments every year. Now, what is important is Mr. Relon Nazareth will explain to you the delivery model or the underlying the learning management system, which is 21st century e-learning communication technology. And that's very important. That's how we are able to get all the curriculum, deliver it to our students here, and we can even deliver it 100% online without any issue. And the students have all the records in these learning management systems about their performance and all that. So just for your information, you have two potential avenues of validating the Rosedale credentials. So one way is get on to the Ontario Ministry of Education website, and then you will find a page where the private elementary and secondary schools are listed. So in the first icon, you will find the list of the secondary schools. And when you go down, you click that, you will go into a downloadable file, which will give you the latest licensed list of the latest licensed secondary schools in the whole of Ontario province. And that's where you can see my cursor. You download and you will get a spreadsheet of all the schools, the secondary schools that have been approved by the Ministry of Ontario, Ministry of Education in Ontario. What I've highlighted in yellow is Rosedale. So all the Rosedale credentials are here. So it's authentic. You can do it yourself, no problem. We can also show you a letter issued by the Ministry of Education in Ontario, where they have renewed and recertified. Now, this is dated 4th of March 2021, where they said this letter confirms that Rosedale Academy BCIS number, that is their unique identification number, is an Ontario private school and has submitted all the annual requirements. The school has the authority to grant credits towards the Ontario Secondary School Diploma. So this validates the authenticity of Rosedale's existence, right? Now, the third point, which I briefly spoke to you about, is the recognition of this qualification. So some might say, is this only recognized in Canada? Or is it a global qualification? No, I tell you, it is a globally recognized qualification. And I like to show you some examples. So not only in Canada, it is accepted in the UK, it's accepted in the US, it is accepted in Australia. And literally across the board, the top ranking universities as well as the middle ranking universities, all of them accept OSSD as a recognized university entry qualification. Now, when you do your research, please remember that when you join to the AIBS OSSD program, you automatically become a dual student. You become a student of AIBS as well as you get a student ID from Rosedale Academy and the Ministry of Education in Ontario. So you technically are a Canadian student. So therefore, when you do your research, when you go into websites of universities, go and say you are a Canadian student or a Canadian qualified student, and then the qualifications will pop down, and you can see the OSSD very clearly as recognized qualifications. For example, in Canada, so Trent University is one of the popular ones. I took a couple of screenshots and I'm sharing with you. So you will see for international students, the Ontario Secondary School Diploma, minimum 70% average you need to have, and 6 undergraduate, these UNM courses, Mr. Raylon Nesret will explain a bit more. These are the 6 courses at grade 12 that you will be expected. Similarly, University of Toronto, one of the top tier universities within the first 15 ranked. I chose a sample, Bachelor of Arts honors in Architectural Studies. Here you get Ontario Secondary School Diploma as the academic requirement. I'm choosing you a college, for example, Seneca, which is quite popular in Sri Lanka as well. So these colleges are delivering advanced diplomas, 3-year advanced diplomas, and their admission requirements, they mention Ontario Secondary School Diploma. Let's go towards UK and see how they look at it. University of Bristol, top 10 in the UK, a Russell Group University, 67th in the world. And can you see any international students applying for University of Bristol? Here it is, the Ontario Secondary Schools Diploma. Let's take a middle tier university, Liverpool John Moores University, which is again popular in Sri Lanka. It talks about international entry requirements. Applicants from Ontario require high school graduate diploma. There you go. Grade 12 subjects. So very clear that the OSSD is an acceptable qualification. So if you browse through many universities, let's take Australia for a change. And University of Sydney, you know, is one of the group of 8, the top 8 universities in Sydney. Here is their 2021 admissions guide. And it says very clearly that for Canada, OSSD. So if you go through the list downwards, you can find all the qualifications, and the OSSD expected grading is reflected under this line. So you see, I've got you some letters which some of the university partners we work with very closely. QUT from Queensland is a very popular technology university. So is Deakin in Sri Lanka. Both of them have written to me and confirmed that the Ontario Secondary School Diploma is accepted in Australia. So it's a truly global qualification. It's a truly globally accepted university entry qualification like the A-levels. So there is nothing to worry. You can enter across the board to many. I mean, I can show you examples of USA and so on. But here is a sample that I showed to you. In the interest of time, I didn't want to take too much of your time. But these are the three salient points which I wanted to highlight. And I would now like to hand over the proceedings to Mr. Relon Nasred for him to continue the detailed presentation. I will stop sharing now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Haran, and thank you for that overview and all very, very important points for you as parents to consider when looking at a program like this in terms of options for your child abroad. I'm going to share my screen and give you a bit of an overview as well on the program in a bit more detail and how it works. And we'll then pass it on to our, I believe, our university partners and be a student and a parent to talk a bit more as well. First, a little bit about myself. Prior to joining Rosedale Academy, I used to work in recruitment and admissions at the University of Waterloo, specifically international recruitment. So I've had I understand that side of things for students, especially the admission gaps that students face coming through various national curriculums. And I was pleased to join Rosedale because Rosedale is one of those few organizations that are bringing Canadian education to you in your home country through great partners like AIBS. So happy to be here. This is not our first year of operation with AIBS. We have a number of students in the program already. So if you're not 100% sure about what we're telling you today, just talk straight to the source, talk to our students, talk to our parents, and learn a bit more about the program that way. So to be a little specific with you, we are based in Toronto, Ontario. We are considered the global Canadian high school. And as Mr. Haran mentioned, we are inspected by the Ontario Ministry of Education. So that is our regulatory body that oversees our ability to deliver this program in a high quality way. We've grown a lot over the past year as well. One of the things I will tell you is that if you want to find a Rosedale Academy program, you're not going to find it in Canada. You're going to find it all over the world. And you can see here in this map, we have more than 51 partner schools worldwide, over 6,500 students, and over 55,000 course enrollments. And I've highlighted Sri Lanka specifically because that's our focus for today's presentation. But this is just to orient you and give you an idea that you're not the only student in this program. There's a large cohort of students all over the world every year that take this program and progress on to great universities. We specialize in two major things. That is the Canadian secondary school programs or foundation programs like the one being offered today with AIBS, as well as the use of e-learning education technology. That's fundamental to our institution. And that's been in existence since 2014. It's not something we came up with overnight because of a pandemic. It's something that's been around 2014. So it's a very tried, tested, and true product and a very tried, tested, and true model of education delivery. So we're very excited to bring that to you today through this presentation. So with AIBS, I was highlighted quite nicely that your local delivery partner, your local teaching partner is AIBS, and the TVEC registered institution. What we do at Rosedale has to be done in partnership with a local institution. That's our policy. And there's very specific reasons for that. For one, as you know, whenever you obtain something, be it a phone or any sort of service, for example, and there's something wrong with it, you need service, you need support, and that needs to happen in your time zone. AIBS is located in your time zone. The staff are trained, very well trained. They've invested a lot in teacher training, and they understand the curriculum. So we want to be able to offer you local teaching support in your time zone. That's number one. And we do that with a very good institution like AIBS that has experience with other foundation programs and other academic programs. Second piece is the investment in facilities. There are modern classroom facilities at AIBS. And as was mentioned by Mr. Haran, this program can be done online or in class within AIBS. We always need to have a physical facility with modern classroom facilities, because at the end of the day, students learn really well in a physical learning environment. So you have that available to you if you choose, if that's something that you would like to do. The last piece is the university and career counseling. That's very important. They have excellent experience with that. I think you've seen that through the different institutions and their qualifications. AIBS definitely does their homework on everything before they get involved with something. And that's important because you as parents can save that time and focus on what's important, such as your child's education. So I'll speak a little bit on behalf of our university partners here today, just briefly. The Canadian Education Advantage. Canada is one of the fastest growing education destinations for international students. We've seen a 20% year-over-year growth in international students coming to Canada. It's pretty obvious what the value proposition is in terms of return on investment and the quality of education. You get a very high quality degree or qualification from these wonderful universities and colleges. And you also have the ability to qualify to receive a 3-year work permit and apply for permanent residency after you complete your program. That's very important because that just shows that there's a great return on investment and there's an ability to put those skills to use in the workforce in Canada and get that Canadian experience. Despite all of that, there's very limited Canadian programming abroad offered to you in Sri Lanka. And we're trying to change that at Rosedale Academy through our transnational partnerships. So it's only natural to offer a Canadian qualification in a country like Sri Lanka, much like you would have access to a British qualification or an Australian qualification in your local country. And as mentioned by Mr. Haran, the OSSD is one of the world's top education systems, and that's done by the Program for International Student Assessment from the OECD. And I'll go into a little bit more detail about what makes it a top quality education system. But it's very important to highlight that it is internationally recognized Canadian curriculum. So I think if there's anything you can grasp from the earlier segment from Mr. Haran or from this segment, is that through this program, you will have options. It's not destined just for Canada. It's not destined just for very specific institutions. You have options, and then you can choose what's best for you. So a lot of parents wonder, what is it that makes it so special and different? Initially, they're looking at it because they're interested in Canada, so they think, why not go for this Canadian qualification? But there really is a very big difference in the academic delivery and the academic model of learning. Firstly, we're well aware of our national curriculum in Sri Lanka, as well as a variety of curriculums such as the Cambridge. Those programs are very good programs. There's nothing wrong with them. They're excellent. In fact, some students do better in them. There is a fundamental difference, though. For a lot of these types of programs, you're judged on one very specific final examination that happens towards the end of the program. And unfortunately, at no fault of the student, the parent, or even the school that they're studying in, because of this major exam that's worth about 70% or higher of their final mark, it leads to an unfortunate case of what we call test-based preparation, memorization, preparing for an examination, rather than actively learning. We follow a very differentiated education model through the OSSD program, and you'll see that through what AIBS is offering. There's a high focus on developing your higher order thinking skills and assessing your higher order thinking skills. It's 2021. All of the information, facts, and figures we need are in the palm of our hands in this phone. We're not in the business of teaching you facts and figures. We're in the business of teaching you how to use those facts and figures. What are you doing with it? What are you making out of it? So it's a very differentiated education model that focuses on developing your skills and is not focused on a major exam in the end. And I'll explain that in a bit more detail. But the 3 things I want to highlight for you that you will get out of this program, fundamentally in the middle, you'll see is academic skills. That's very important. You get that in any curriculum you take, or you should be, in terms of literacy, mathematics, scientific, research skills, and presentation skills. The additional piece that we will provide, that we provide very well, is our higher order thinking skill development, the ability to have critical and creative thinking, analyze, problem solve, evaluate, and apply your knowledge in a variety of settings. The last piece, which happens naturally through the program and the way it's designed, is your learning skills. We want to prepare you to transition from your school environment to a university environment. You're going from a very familiar environment to an environment of a lot of unknowns. So we'll teach you things like responsibility, organization, taking initiative, working independently, and working collaboratively, as well as managing your time. Those are very important learning skills, and we don't teach that to you in the form of a typical lesson. That happens naturally through the assessments and the work that you're doing through the program. So it's very important, and these are the three fundamental things that we are providing through our curriculum that makes us quite unique. The other piece is that e-learning education technology piece. That is a big part of what we do at Rosedale. As mentioned before, it's been developed since 2014 and it's constantly being updated. This is not something that we put together as a result of the pandemic. It's something that was definitely tested because of the pandemic. And some of the components of that is what you see here. If you're not able to run a science experiment in AIBS's beautiful labs, you can conduct it using the virtual lab. Or if you've conducted that science experiment at the physical lab, you can reinforce that learning through our virtual labs. We have a lot of collaborative activities, and we also have a lot of videos, case studies, and simulations built in that brings a very practical understanding to what you're learning. There's lots of games involved because we believe that we should be giving students what they like through a form of learning. And there's global discussion forums as well as pre-recorded presentations on there. So if your child has trouble with understanding the material, or if the internet's not good that day, or if they need some sort of reinforcement of learning, all of that is there through the platform. This platform has been huge for us during this pandemic. It's one of the few programs where all of our students were able to study and graduate on time and not rely on an external examination. I think you can all reflect on the past couple of years with your child or other children or friends who have children that whose education plans were severely delayed because they were relying on their school or an external examination body to come up with a learning solution. We have that in place, and we've been fortunate because our students that have gone through the program have been able to successfully pass and move on. So a little bit of the housekeeping items, just to elaborate a bit more on what Mr. Hiran mentioned. When you register at AIBS, you're also registered at Rosedale Academy as an Ontario student. That means you will receive an Ontario education number, an Ontario student record, a record of your studies. That's very important. It's as if you're studying in Ontario. You'll also receive an Ontario report card periodically, which identifies your progress in your courses and areas of improvement. There's also a couple of legal documents. One is the Ontario student transcript and the Ontario Secondary School Diploma itself. The student transcript is what goes out to universities that highlights basically that you've completed your courses. It turns that offer of admission from conditional to hopefully unconditional if you perform well. And the actual qualification itself, the OSSD diploma, is a qualification as mentioned by Mr. Hiran. It doesn't come from AIBS, it doesn't come from Rosedale actually. It's awarded by the Ontario Ministry of Education as a student of Rosedale Academy. So this is what it looks like, and this is what we mail out from the ministry directly to AIBS upon graduation from the program. The learning model, which was highlighted a little bit earlier, I just want to re-emphasize this. The learning management platform is where all of the curriculum is located, the learning materials that you need. Consider it a digital textbook. We have a program manager at Rosedale that's constantly updating this material to make it innovative, new, and state-of-the-art and the latest. Imagine just doing a software update on your phone or your computer. That's exactly what's happening on the learning management platform. You're getting fresh and new content on a regular basis. The actual teacher at AIBS provides a lot of support, specifically with the actual local class instruction and exam supervision. They are trained by us. They understand how to deliver the curriculum, how to use all of our e-learning education technology tools, and maximize your abilities as a student. So that's a very critical piece that they provide. What they do not provide, though, is grading and evaluation. That is done by our Ontario certified teachers in Canada. There'll be a lot of summative evaluations in every single course you take. I'll break that down a little bit later. And that's evaluated independently by our Ontario certified teachers. So in every single course you take at Rosedale, you're going to have two teachers in the program, a teacher at AIBS and a teacher from Rosedale. And that's how we make the program work. So the actual pathway program, we are looking for students who have completed their O-levels or IGCSEs. There's also many students that have done partially their AS or their A-levels. And they'd like to take a look at this program. We do take students in that situation as well. The main minimum requirement is that you've completed your O-levels or your 11th standard if you're coming from a national curriculum. We do like to know a little bit about you. We like to ask you what you're interested in. You might like engineering, business, or social science. And then we put you in a study stream. A study stream is a grouping of courses that we identified that are required for you to pursue that particular area of interest at university. And we want to be able to guarantee to you that if you take these group of courses, you're qualified to apply to any university around the world for the particular program you like. And you take that over about 10 months. You're able to receive pre-admission to some of our partner institutions. You're also able to apply to any institution around the world. So the key thing here is that you get options. You get the beauty of your A-level program gives you the ability to apply anywhere around the world, and you get the beauty of foundation program in terms of the teaching methodology and learning. You get that all in one through this program. You'll also complete an Ontario literacy test and 10 hours of community service through this program. And AIBS can tell you a little bit more about that in detail if you're interested in. So taking a look at some of the courses that are offered, we have a wide variety of courses through AIBS. We've listed the grade 12 and grade 11 courses. List the grade 11 courses because there's some students that might be missing a key course, or there might be a key course required by a university from the grade 11 level in addition to the grade 12 level. We have all of them that you would possibly require depending on the program that you're looking to study in. Each of our courses are 110 hours of curriculum, and we follow a progressive evaluation model. That is one of the main differences between our curriculum and the other curriculums that are out there. 70% of your final grade is based on the assessments, your performance in the assessments. That's from the beginning of the course to the end of the course. And we've de-emphasized the final exam to about 30%. So we put less pressure on you with the final exam, and we put more pressure on you throughout the whole duration of the course. So you're expected to perform consistently. And we do that so that you're constantly learning and constantly improving. That's the goal of the program. And as mentioned by Mr. Hiran, we're able to take your previous high school transcripts, assess them, and provide prior learning and recognition so that you don't have to take all of these courses to graduate. You'll only have to take the specific courses needed to get to obtain the diploma from the ministry. So the application model to university is a little bit different than, say, a Cambridge program. First and foremost, the universities are going to look at your top 6 or less university preparation courses. So this is an example of that. And you'll apply with your top 6 courses. And in some cases, the institutions will have specific mandatory required courses as part of that top 6. That differentiated evaluation process, just to give you a visual example, there's about 15 assessments in each course. This is what you're graded on in each course. And that's worth about 70%. And your final is worth about 30%. That will form the grade you receive for each and every course that you take. And your top 6 GPA is calculated based on the top 6 courses. This right here that you see, a business program or a computer science program, this is the type of courses we expect them to have in a program like this. So the global admission advantages, there are quite a lot, depending on which country you're looking for. In Canada, it's very interesting. You qualify for both international student scholarships as well as domestic entrance scholarships because you're studying in a Canadian institution, a Canadian high school. I just want to clarify that you're not qualifying for Canadian tuition fees because that's based on citizenship, not your qualification. But you are able to qualify for those domestic entrance scholarships. So we've had students receive anywhere between as little as 1,000 to as much as 10,000 Canadian dollars, depending on the university, in addition to an international student scholarship, which is fantastic. With the UK and Australia, there's no requirement for A-levels, as you know, and you don't have to do an expensive university foundation program at the university prior to continuing your studies. So that's a big financial advantage. You can go straight to the program, straight to the first year of the program. In the United States, there's no requirement for an SAT or ACT for most universities. However, we do encourage it for some students who are applying for very generous scholarships in the US, and I'll tell you a bit more about that later. And in places like Singapore or Malaysia, the IELTS or TOEFL is not required if you have completion of our grade 12 English course. So some of the outcomes of our work, it's very important. Mr. Hiran was identifying that ways to verify Rosedale Academy as an institution registered with the ministry. That's important. It's important that you do that. But then there's another important thing that you should look at too, is the quality of the institution that is registered with them. As you know, there's many schools you can choose from in Sri Lanka, for example, but what makes you choose one over the other? It's the quality and the record that they have. we have an excellent record of university acceptances into top 100 universities. You can see here a number of institutions I've identified. These are institutions that have given admission to our students. That means they have a track record, they have an application record, they've seen students from Rosedale Academy and they're happy with them. And I identify this because I want to show you the diversity of countries that these institutions are from. Our students go everywhere. It's one of the few Canadian programs where students apply, take this program and apply to multiple countries for admission. And we have a very good track record of that. So when you come into this program, I encourage you to apply to a lot of different countries because you never know where you might end up. And this is the best example I can give of that. Every year we have students obtaining scholarships between 5,000 to 20,000 Canadian dollars, depending on the institution. And we always have a few that get very generous scholarships. So I've highlighted 4 here from this past year that have received what we call transformational scholarships. So the 2 students from Nigeria you see here, I'll be honest with you, their preference was to go to Canada, but they did apply to a couple of US universities and they did very well. And those US universities have provided near full scholarships to them. One being Clarkson University and another one being Rochester Institute of Technology. So you can see here that these children have received a very generous scholarship from 2 US schools. I'm not even talking about Canada at this point. And in the UK, we had a student from Myanmar, not too far away, who received a full scholarship and a living allowance to the University of York. And that's a fantastic achievement on his part. And of course, in Canada, we had a student from China received a top scholarship of about $80,000 to study at UBC, which is one of the world's top 30 universities. So I would very much love to be here in a year from now, identifying a student from Sri Lanka who has achieved a top scholarship. But these scholarships are not based on being enrolled at Rosedale. It's based, or AIBS, it's based on your performance in the program and your ability to have a great application. And we want to help you get there. So, and we will be able to help you get there through our program and through AIBS. So just closing off on my presentation, and then I'll hand it back over to the team at AIBS. Some of the advantages of this program is you're getting a high quality Canadian education with significant savings as opposed to studying in Canada, the UK, or the US. So it's as if you're studying at a school in Canada. That's what we're trying to deliver to you locally in Sri Lanka. Very experienced local staff. We've been extremely impressed with them and their support and hard work in making this program a reality, as well as our own Canadian Ontario certified teachers that are there for grading. The program is truly uninterrupted, engaging, pandemic-proof curriculum. You will get through this program and graduate based on your timelines of when it is. We're not going to delay it for you. Your performance, though, is based on your performance, your effort. And there's a wide selection of courses from grades 11 and 12. And we do, as you can see, we've had great admissions and scholarships to top global universities. So that's my overview. Of course, looking forward to answering some questions on the chat later on, but I'll turn it back over to our friends at AIBS. Thank you.
Thank you, Raylon. Thank you very much for that insightful presentation and clarifications. So we will move on. And may I now invite Ms. Nacha Veeravat. Nacha Veeravat, she's the Regional Director for South Asia at University Canada West. She will also give you some insights of her own. Nacha, all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Hiran. Thank you very much, everyone, for a warm welcome. And thank you, AIBS and Rosedale Academy for inviting University Canada West to be here. So I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully it will come up right now. Okay, excuse me, just bear with me 1 minute. Okay, so I hope everyone able to see the screen.
It's still loading. We will hopefully.
Okay.
Yes, we can see now.
Perfect, thank you. If by any chance my internet is a bit slow, I might have to turn off the video, so my apologies in advance. Thank you. So today, as one of the Canadian university, having a good chance to introduce our university, in a partnership with the AIBS, and we would like to introduce our university for prospective students who are interested to have Canadian higher diploma and interested probably to study further in Canada. So Canada West might be one of the good options for you. So for University Canada West, we are innovative business technology-oriented university based in Vancouver City Metropolitan in British Columbia. Our university, some of you might have heard about it. We also recently received the overall 5-star ranking from the QS STARS higher education rating system, which is very honored to be recognized. For the University of Canada West, its location is perfect for international students because we are based right in downtown of the Vancouver city with 2 beautiful campuses that accommodate around, at the moment, nearly 5,000 students. And most of students are from 90 countries around the world, including Sri Lanka as well. In terms of recognitions for the university and accreditations, University of Canada West is a DLI designated institution or university that received approval to provide higher education to international students and domestic students. As you can see on the screen right now, there are different kind of accreditations and memberships that the university received and get assessed on yearly basis. There are some important accreditations globally recognized, as well as ACBSP for our programs. If you're interested to learn more, I would encourage you to find out the information on our university website for the very insightful information. Let's have a look about the University of Canada West and its uniqueness, I would say, why University of Canada West is in the interest to international students. We are flexible in terms of the intakes that provide flexibility for international students to apply throughout the whole year, 4 times per year. In terms of the experienced faculty and the support, our faculty and professors, they come from various sectors, from the various industries. Therefore, we provide different kind of angle and knowledge to our students in a practical learning way. Our class is a small class size, maximum 25 students per class only. With the post-grad work permit eligibility, one student complete the program with us, either undergraduate program or postgraduate program, student will be eligible to apply for post-grad work permit after 3 years. Moreover, in terms of financial support, we have a very good scholarship scheme that support our international students, as we understand how important it is to fully focus on education once students arrive in Canada. So we do our best, whatever it takes, in order to support our students. I understand that we have a bit of limited time for presentation, so I'm just gonna go straight to the programs and relevant information for the undergraduate programs that you are all here today for. The programs that University of Canada West offering for the undergraduate programs in 2022 and onwards, we're offering Associate of Arts program and Bachelor Degree. In terms of Associate of Arts program, so this is a 2-year degree program. Student will be studying broad foundation of knowledge in terms of the courses. Even though it is a broad foundation of knowledge, but as mentioned that all the program at University of Canada West, once student complete and pass, the student will be eligible to apply for postgrad work permit. Therefore, it's important for our students to be specialized in their own way of interest in order to gain their, I would say, career prospect or opportunity. So there are 8 focuses for our students to choose. It's not just though University of Canada West is a business-oriented, technology-focused university, but for the Associate of Arts, there are 8 different focuses for students to choose from: accounting to management, hospitality, even psychology. And apart from that, as a University of Canada West, we are in the BCCAT Association, which allows students to transfer credits after the first year to other institutions in Canada, either public or private institutions. Therefore, students able to transfer credits, let's say if they change their mind or would like to relocate, that's also applicable and benefits students as well. In terms of the bachelor degree, the bachelor degrees are offering from the University of Canada West in 2022 and onwards. We are offering the Bachelor of Commerce program, which is a full-year degree program as a Canadian bachelor degree. However, students eligible to complete or accelerate and complete within 3-year program with the full credits taken and no term break. The Bachelor of Commerce from University of Canada West, it is the ACBSP and NCMA accredited, which is provide high value for international students. Also, for any student that would like to commit into or go through the CPA accounting route in Canada. Once the student studying the Bachelor of Commerce with University of Canada West, some of the credits can be taken as a pathway as well. And the focus for the Bachelor of Commerce is in accounting and business communications. The other kind of bachelor degree that providing by University of Canada West is in a different kind of focus, which is in business communication. For this program, then student will develop the core skill in writing, research, communication. Therefore, the career prospect might be different from the Bachelor of Commerce. However, it is still within the business area. The student will be able to study the business, the model of business, and the knowledge. Let's have a look at the entry requirements that required for international students. As for yourself, that you are probably counted as international students, what do you need in terms of applying to the university? We required a Canadian high school grade 12 diploma or equivalent, for example, the OSSD degree with an overall average of C grade or better in terms of the academic result, together with the proof of English in form of IELTS, TOEFLs, PTE, and etc. So these are the entry requirements that are required from international students. And I believe that by attending today's session, it might give you more prospect and insight in terms of designing your study path from high school to university level. In terms of the bachelor program, as some of you that might have a good opportunity to do Canadian higher diploma, then you would not need any foundation course. But if you don't meet the entry requirements for the English requirement, but the University of Canada West, we have the bachelor program for the English course if you don't meet the required IELTS score, which is also available to support international students as well. As mentioned, key term days, we accept application 4 times a year, so providing more flexibility to our international students. In terms of scholarship, what University of Canada West provide in 2022 academic year. So these are called entrance scholarship to international students who meet the entry requirement. There are different kind of scholarships that provide opportunity to undergrad students. First of all, it is called academic excellence with the highest value of 20,000 Canadian dollars for the bachelor degree applicant, if you are eligible. Of course, the higher academic score of your high school level, high school result would be, the better it is. And Associate of Arts is up to 10,000 Canadian dollars. But if you are not eligible for that kind of merit scholarship, then you might be eligible for the language Excellence Award, which is based on your proof of English. If you are one of the people who have very good English skill and a very good score, then the amount is quite cheap as well. And last but not least, we still would like to support some students who may not be eligible for any kind of other awards for undergraduate program. Then you still can apply by providing statement of purpose. And there might be some additional interview if required, but the amount of the award is 5,000 to support your study as well. In terms of student supports, we are career focused as well, university. Therefore, we have very good employment range for our students. We have different kind of supports to our students, from academic department to student affairs, to career services from the scratch, including immigration stations. As we understand, international students, once they move the country, it's very important for them to have a solid foundation and knowledge to begin with. And some of the alumni, some of the names that we are proud of our students that currently been working with. But there are other corporates and companies that our students and alumni has been working with. So I hope my brief presentation provides some information or overview of University Canada West relevant to today's session. If any questions, please do feel free to let us know after the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Nacha. Thank you very much. And your time and your insights are very much appreciated.
Thank you.
Going forward, may I invite Ms. Junko Leclerc. Junko is the Manager, International Enrollment and Recruitment at the North Island College. May I request Junko to brief us and make a little presentation, please?
Thank you very much for the introduction. Hi, everyone. I'm just going to quickly share the slides here. Just bear with me for a moment. And I would like to thank everybody for staying around. I realize that it might be a little bit over time, so I will make sure to keep the presentation short, and knowing that everybody has taken their dinner time out of their day to be here today. So I'm not going to repeat some of the information that has already been presented, but North Island College is a public institution in Canada that offers quality education, and our courses are comparable to universities. You might not necessarily have concept of going to college first before university, but it is a very common concept in Canada. And in fact, in our province of British Columbia, we have over 60% of our students start their education at a college, even though their final destination is a university. So it's a very common notion. Now, North Island College itself is a slightly smaller institution in comparison to the urban institutions, with about 350 to 450 international students on site each year. And these students study with other Canadian students. So the ratio of international students to Canadian students vary quite considerably depending on the programs. But at undergraduate level, if you are coming right out of your country and going into the first year of undergraduate program here at North Island College, the students could be the only student in the class to about 30, maybe 40% of the entire classroom. The class is very small, so our classroom size ranges from about 12 students to about 30 students, depending on what course students are taking. Now, the location-wise, we are just off the coast of Vancouver, so we are very close to University Canada West as well, on a place called Vancouver Island. So it is an island, but it has a capital of British Columbia. So it is a main residential area, I guess I should say, in British Columbia. It's also one of the best places to live ahead of Vancouver and Victoria and other bigger city locations across Canada. And it is a really mild, it has a very mild climate and beautiful scenery. Now, the reason why undergraduate students tend to choose our location is because of the ease and the comfort. So the city itself is smaller at about 75,000 people, but people are very friendly and very calm. We have the one of the highest safety rating out of all the cities in Canada. So parents can comfortably let their children live here and really focus on their study before transferring over to university. So that's the real benefit of starting off at a smaller institution rather than to go right into the larger institution, going into a bigger city and also bigger classrooms. Now, I have already talked a little bit about the smaller class size, but the concept of transfer is something that was previously mentioned. So in the province of British Columbia, where North Island College is located, we have the what we call BC CAT, where transfer and articulation is strictly monitored. So all of our North Island College courses are recognized by universities across the province. And we also offer very similar to almost identical curriculum as universities such as University of British Columbia, University of Victoria, and other major universities. So that makes it very easy for students to take the courses at NIC, or North Island College, in the first year or first 2 years, and then carry over those courses to whichever the destination university to complete the degree program. So not only the fact that it does not extend the amount of time required in order to complete a degree program, it also saves cost significantly in the first 2 years of international education in Canada. The university courses can vary depending on universities, of course, and colleges. But if you think about the rough estimated cost annually, at North Island College, students will be paying about just over $17,000, including textbooks. Whereas going to urban universities will come at the cost of anywhere from about $27,000 to $35,000 per year in Canadian dollars. And so being able to study in the same course at lower cost is definitely a benefit. And of course, some of the programs that we offer are not just bachelor degree focused. We also offer programs that are more skill and employment based. So students can choose depending on what their goal is at the end of the day. I'm not going to go through the entire list of programs that we currently offer here at North Island College. But the programs range from business, tourism, digital design and development, social work, fine arts, and of course, arts, sciences, engineering, and criminology. And all of these programs are university transferable. So students can choose to start at NIC, go directly to another university to complete 4-year degree program right off the bat. Or students can start with us and complete, say, 2 years of the education first, and then take a break, and then later on enter into the 3rd year or the 4th year of the university education as well. So that leaves them the option. Now, another great thing about starting off at North Island College is that we have guaranteed admission agreement with a number of institutions. We have University of Victoria as our main destination for our students, followed by Vancouver Island University. But we have many students that transfer without guaranteed admission agreement to SFU, Simon Fraser University, or UBC, the University of British Columbia. So depending on the study of their interest, the major of their interest and such, we are able to customize. And of course, if students are interested in going to a different province, we do transfer our students to other provinces such as Alberta, or even Ontario. We have had students transfer over to University of Toronto and some of the major universities like University of Waterloo as well. So it is a great opportunity. Now, I'm gonna quickly skip over to some of the admission requirements. I think this might be a little bit too detailed for you at this point, but in order for your children to get into North Island College and start their studies, the graduation is required. So whether it's going to be OSSD graduation or graduation equivalent from your country, we will take that as the first step. Then for English, if the student has already taken the OSSD English course with minimum of C, then that will be sufficient in order to meet the English requirements, although IELTS is something that students can take in lieu of the English course if the student does not take the English course. For other undergraduate requirements, we do not look at the overall percentage requirement, but instead we look at course-by-course percentage requirements. So maybe your child has not done extremely well in some courses, but have done well enough in other courses. Then, those courses that they did well in are the courses that we require in order to determine admission, then we will be able to take that and admit the student into the program. Alternatively, if your child wanted to go into, say, a biology program and did not do very well in biology, whether they have taken the Rosedale's OSSD course or not, they can still enter into NIC. And we can continue to offer the high school level courses if required. Of course, Roland will tell you that you would be able to still tap into the Rosedale's courses, and that's what we generally recommend. But it does give students the option for some remedial work if needed. And once they have taken the courses at North Island College, the grades from North Island College is what is required in order to enter into a university. So if students cannot directly go into a university and continue on with their bachelor's degree program, they can take that extra step at North Island College, really polish up on their academic skills, and then move on to the university of their choice. So that's something that we specialize in. And that's one of the reasons why we have an extremely high level of student support on one-on-one basis from the time they apply until they get their credential or until they transfer to another institution. Now, I think I've talked enough about most of the points in regards to North Island College. If you have any questions, please feel free to put it into the chat box. And for students that are coming from Rosedale and from AISB, we have the awards and scholarship anywhere from $500 to about $4,000 that's available depending on the criteria. I will stop here for the time being. And thank you very much for, again, sparing the time to be with us today.
Thank you too, Jimko, for enlightening us and enlightening the prospective students. Most appreciated for your time as well. There are a couple of questions appearing on the chat box, but I know we have a Q&A time. But before we venture into the question and answers, I would like to request two unique people to make their experiences known to all of you. Firstly, one of our students who recently graduated, Savinder Veerasinghe, he will speak to you and let you know what he found at AIBS and his own experience. Savinder, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Hiran, and good day to all of you. So, like Mr. Hiran said, my name is Savinder Veerasinghe. It's very nice to meet all of you, especially seeing the number of prospective students that are present here today. I am really surprised and really happy to see that so many of you guys decided to do the OSSD, because when I started out, there weren't many students like this. And let me say, first of all, that I'm very happy about this situation. And moving on, I have to say that doing the OSSD was a completely different experience for me, my part, because I studied up to A levels, and when I started my OSSD, I finished my A levels just then, and 2 months later, I started out with the OSSD, right? And working with AIBS and Rosedale on the OSSD has, changed my life. Like Mr. Elon so candidly explained to us, the OSSD is all about high critical thinking. We never got that sort of a thing when I was studying back in my old schools. We were forced to memorize everything. We were forced to do tests that were too hard for our standard. It was too much. But with OSSD, we had a chance to research, reach out to the wider world and get knowledge from different sources, and that helped me grow as a person and as an academic. And our time with the teachers were also very, very great. The teachers were so supportive to us. We did wonderful work together, and they helped us. We helped them in some occasions, and it was not just it was also give and take. It was a mutual relationship that we had with our teachers, and that was one of the best things. And the other one is that the OSSD was a curriculum that was so updated. That was one of the best things that I saw in the OSSD as well. It was updated, and we got to experience the new things that were out in the world, and that helped me also. Working with people, that was another great advantage that I got. My classmates, of course, we only had 3 students, including me back when I started. And the 3 of us, we had a great relationship. We never met face to face. We always did our classes online, and it was such a great experience for us. We never got to meet each other face to face, but we had such a great nurturing relationship. We helped each other, and it was great. People that comes to do the OSSD, generally they are great people, and I encourage you to collaborate with each other when you're doing the OSSD. And finally, I have to say, join hands with the AIBS staff and the Rosedale staff, because they are going to be there for you. They have always supported me, Mr. Elon from Rosedale, every other partner from Rosedale. They have helped me and my friends achieve the highest they can. The teachers at Rosedale are great, and all the teachers from AIBS are great. The staff at AIBS are great. So do not let them go, because they will help you achieve the highest that you can get. And I will stop for now because the time is fleeting. So I'm going to wish everyone a bright future. Do well, and make sure that you stick with AIBS and Rosedale, and I assure you that you will get the greatest achievement of your life. And let me tell you, this investment is worth every single thing. This is the best investment that you can put into your life. Thank you, everyone, and have a nice day.
Thank you, Savinder. Thank you very much. Savinder spoke out of his heart, and he was one of those exuberant students who was part of the first batch. He was one of those students who proved that you can study online. He was in the midst of the peak times in the pandemic, where the OSSD was really tested from a delivery standpoint, and he graduated very well. He did extremely well. And if I remember right, his averages were pretty high. So
85
he's now,
over 85.
right, 85 plus. So he is now in the process of applying to the universities, and I wish him very good luck, Savinda. All the best to you.
Thank you,
I
Mr.
would
Hiran.
now request Mr. Bihan Javadana. Mr. Javadana is a parent, the father of one of our existing students, Michelle Javadana. And we would also like to hear from Mr. Javadana about his experience as a parent, nurturing a daughter who is following AIBS, the OSSD at AIBS. Mr. Javadana?
Hi, good evening, everyone. So thanks for inviting me to share my experience as a parent. Unfortunately, I'm unable to on my videos because I'm on the move right now. And so like Savinda said, so he has explained nicely what, as a student, what he went through and how his experience was. Like, so as a parent's point of view, so I think that's one of the best decisions I took with regard to the studies of my children. So because my eldest son is studying in Germany right now. So I thought, because I did my A-levels in commerce stream. So we spent about 2.5 years to do the grade 11 and 12. So that is not a syllabus to go for such long period. So I was looking for a program because my daughter was planning to do in business. So then I found the AIBS. Then I went through all the details, Rostel, and actually that was the best decision I took to enroll her to do the OSSD. So that's a big investment, but it's really worth the investment. And it saves a lot of time. Actually, this is a 10 months, 11 months. She'll be like completing a course, which if you do a local syllabus, 2.5 years. So you are saving about 1.5 years of or the child's life. So actually that's the main point. And always teachers were helping her whenever we contacted. So the Miss Sakun, I think she's the contact point of my daughter, and they were supporting. And Mr. Sylvester, when I called something, so they supported us for all to clarify things and to find the university. I'm in the process of looking for the universities right now because she will be completing in January, hopefully. So, but I start searching for the universities, and they are helping me to find the universities for her. So that's actually, this is a pandemic time, and they are conducting the classes online. For the students, I can say, so don't take it easy. So it's not easy. This is and also concentrate on mathematics subjects. So that is because I think Canada, they recognize mathematics, and you have to do the mathematics. Even you're doing business. I'm a chartered accountant, but I request you to do special attention to mathematics. So as a parent, I'm very happy with OSSD and AIBS. So I can recommend to the parents. So because I saw in the chat box, some are trying to do the medicine and coming back to Sri Lanka. A lot of people are trying to go out of Sri Lanka this time.
That's true.
Because we are also planning to migrate to Canada. So that's another point. So I'm concentrating on the British Columbia side. So I can recommend to the parents, you will really experience this. And children, don't take it easy. Put your hard work. This is special times. You maybe not get used to the online education, but you will get used to that. You will get used to that. Maybe you will miss the A-level, the fun 2 years of our lives. Maybe you will not have, but use this time to do your studies. And parents also, I can say, I'm very much happy with this program. So thank you,
Mr. Javadana.
Thank you,
Mr. Javadana, for being very candid, and I appreciate very much your comments. Wish you success and good luck in your plans for your future. I know we'll be sad to lose people like you leaving, transcending our boundaries, but that's, as you quite rightly said, there is a sentiment that a lot of people are wanting to go now to other destinations. So I wish you and your family good luck, and in particular, Michelle, the very best for her studies whilst at AIBS.
Thank you.
So we are now open for our Q&As, and thank you very much, Raylon, Nacha, and Junko for your time, and I would appreciate if you can stay on just to answer some of the questions if there is anything relevant that has been put on the chat box as well. So I'll quickly run through the few chats that have appeared. So I think Mr. Jayawardena also has observed some of these questions. I think there is a repetitive question that is coming up about coming back and working without A-levels. So let me be very candid here to all of you. So this is OSSD is not a simple foundation. It's a regulated qualification. It's an equivalent to A-levels. So therefore, that is why we've been talking about this qualification being accepted to literally any university. Now, if anybody is wanting to come back to Sri Lanka after having completed their undergraduate or postgraduate studies, I can't see any reason, and I think it's a myth to say that you cannot get a job, because there are many, many Sri Lankans who have not done their local A-levels. Firstly, some have stopped after A-levels, O-levels, and gone over and done foundation studies, pre-university programs in other countries, graduated and come back and got employment, especially in the private sector, without any issue. Now, I'm not too sure whether there is a ground rule or a requirement to join the government service, whether there is a need for Sri Lankan A-levels. Certainly, if you are coming back to do medicine back to Sri Lanka, then if there is a regulation to say you need to have Sri Lankan A-levels, then this route may not be the ideal for you. But on the other hand, I know friends and family whose children have done London A-levels, which is Edexcel and Cambridge, gone overseas, done their medical degrees, and have returned to Sri Lanka. Now, nobody has asked for Sri Lankan A-levels for those students. The only requirement they expect is that there is a conversion exam that such students have to do to join the national service or the health department, which is again government. So if you have a medical student who is coming back, you can't practice privately. You need to first do an internship, join the government service, and they have been absorbed after doing the conversion exams. So I'm not too sure whether this, what people say are realistic. So I'll be, as I said, I'm very candid about this. We haven't found any situation of people or students returning back to Sri Lanka, having not done Sri Lankan A-levels. They have had many, many great opportunities, and they are doing very well in their careers. And I, as a parent, will definitely vouch and endorse that, because my own daughter has followed that path, and she's gainfully employed in the private sector without having done Sri Lankan A-levels. Now, looking into other questions, right. What is the GPA needed to get a full scholarship to Canadian universities? Raylon, would you like to just elaborate a bit on that?
Not really, but I will. Not a problem. In terms of that question really depends on the institution. Firstly, does the institution in Canada offer a full scholarship. And I'll be very honest with you, most Canadian universities don't. That's not really a policy that many Canadian universities take on for scholarships. Some do, and there are a few, and AIBS knows which ones offer full scholarships, and they'd be happy to go through those specific institutions with you. But most institutions will provide usually up to 30% of your undergraduate fees, maybe a bit more. So even if you're qualified for a great scholarship, it's very important as a family to make sure you're financially planning. Canadian institutional fees, though, I will always argue that university and college fees from universities in Canada are real fees. They're not inflated. So it's always good to compare what the fee is at a Canadian institution with a fee at an American institution. That American institution might offer you a 60% scholarship, and when you do the math, it works out to be the same as what you'd be paying in Canada with a small scholarship. I've had a situation with a parent that once said, "But it's about the letter of the scholarship. That's what I care about. I need to be able to show that to my friends and family." So, it's full scholarships are available at certain institutions. They have very specific GPA requirements, and they also have very specific non-academic requirements too. They want to see other things in that application. The schools that do offer full scholarships often have a separate application that you have to fill out, and AIBS is well aware of the ones that do and the deadlines that are required for that. So it's not impossible, but there's a process. Now, for all institutions, though, in Canada, the majority of them, you're automatically assessed for their entrance scholarships and their other scholarships based on your GPA and performance. I think as was mentioned by our two institutions that are here today. So that's what I can recommend. Outside of Canada, though, it's a wide world out there. I think I highlighted those two Nigerian students and a student from Myanmar that got a full scholarship. They had every intention of coming to Canada. So that's why I always say keep your eyes open and keep your options open through this program. You never know where you might end up.
Thank you, Relon. Thank you very much for that. So there is Shenat who is asking, can I apply for Canadian universities like Waterloo and Western for fall intake 2022 if I were to finish the OSSD by August 2022? This is a tough one. I'm sure my colleague Sakuna might endorse my answer to this. Currently, the Canadian universities, in fact, this afternoon we had a webinar where there is a pretty strong growing interest for students coming from all over to study in Canada. So many universities have put completion deadlines or application deadlines for the universities. So Chinat, or completion of OSSD in August and applying for the fall intake in 2022 might not work. It's a tall order because your transcripts will be available only somewhere in August, might be even the fall period. So typically, I think there's a lead time of about 5 to 6 months. And then you need to also apply for your study permit, which is the visa from ICRC. So I personally would think that the most probable timeline for you for the application, if Waterloo and Western have the same programs in January, that's a possibility, January of 2023. If not, it will be the fall of 2023. Making it to the fall of 2022 might be a tall order for you. Yeah. Right. Sanuki is asking, what if we do advanced level examination? What is the minimum required results in commerce stream? So I'm not getting your question right. Are you asking if you are currently an advanced level student, or if you have already done advanced level maybe once, what would you have to do OSSD? Am I reading your question right? Relon, is that
I
something?
could jump in.
Yeah.
So just so you're aware, if you completed your A-levels and you wish to do the OSSD for whatever reason, we do have students that do that. If you've completed and passed your A-level program, that occurs to us on our system as you've graduated from high school, right? So what we will do is we will put you in a minimum of 6 courses, because the 6 courses is what's required to apply to university. If you choose to go to a college, a Canadian college like NIC, for example, which is an excellent choice as far as having a much better academic support system and transition system, then you may have less courses required to complete as opposed to 6. 6 is the magic number we use for A-level graduates, because we know for a fact that if you apply to college and universities, both will assess you based on 6. But if you're only applying to colleges, then you can complete the diploma with less courses than 6. But as mentioned earlier, if you've completed your A-levels and you passed them all, that means you passed the AS component and the A-level, then that occurs to us as a student that's graduated from high school, and then we'll have you do 6 courses. If you've completed your IGCSE or O-levels only, and you haven't completed your AS or A-levels, then we'll put you in 7 courses, which is the requirement for the ministry as far as graduating from this program is concerned.
Thank you, Relon. There are 3 similar questions, and I would probably again pose it to you. Manjari, Shadafa, and Duragun, all of them are literally asking the question, can we do medicine, veterinary science using OSSD in Canada?
So I did receive a few direct messages as well with the same question. So just so you understand, in Canada, medicine, North America, actually, medicine is considered I would call it just a postgraduate program. So you would go into an undergraduate science program, an undergrad program, we could call it a free medicine program, and then apply to medical school that way. There are fantastic countries that offer programs like MBBS, direct entry programs, or opportunities in places like Australia or the UK. We've had students apply to medical schools in Australia and the UK for direct entry through the OSSD. It's not impossible. In both cases, we put you in our science stream. You take the selection of courses specifically to apply to science programs. And AIBS will identify, if you're applying to another country, like say in Malaysia or in Australia, they'll identify if you have to do any external examinations for entry into that medical program. And in many of those medical programs, they do have an external examination that you have to do regardless of what curriculum you studied in. We believe our curriculum will prepare you tremendously for that examination. But if there's an external examination, they'll identify it for you. There might even be a preparatory course that you can take for that on top. But to answer your question, it is this program is accepted for entry into medical programs in certain countries, or pre-medical program in a place in country like in the region like North America.
Thank you, Relon. I'm just quickly running through the. Suleha is asking, my interest is in automotive engineering. Is there any recognized university? I'm sure there must be many recognized universities in Canada and colleges who are doing automotive engineering. We could probably, our counselors could, I would suggest you talk to our counselors, Suleha. We can find out the universities and colleges which are good at automotive engineering, and then we can also look at what the general average OSSD grading that is expected those universities expect. We will do some research, and you can contact our team at any time. Abhi is asking, I did Cambridge A-levels, is OSSD necessary? Abhi, it all depends on how well you have done Cambridge. If you have done very well in Cambridge A-levels, you should be able to carry through to your progression using the Cambridge A-levels, you don't have to necessarily do OSSD. But if you have marginally got marginal results, again, we can have a look, and then we will see whether the OSSD is another alternative route for you, because it's an equally recognized qualification. But as Mr. Relon Nazareth said, whether you have done A-level or if you have marginally passed, you will still have to do about 6 course units of OSSD. So just connect with our team. Again, we will be happy to talk to you and just evaluate your requirements. Okay, Sanuki, when we have to pay the fees to the universities, yeah, so this is something that you need to be, again, evaluating. Certainly, universities want the fees to be paid directly to them. In the case of OSSD, you don't have to do that. You pay AIBS the entire course fee, and then we will send your exam fees over to Canada. But in the case of university entry, once you do get accepted by your university, you need to open a student file, you need to go through a proper banking channel, and then transfer your monies. So it's either you or your parents or somebody who is your guardian who can make the payment. Right. Mr. Upul Kumar Singh is just seeking clarification. My elder daughter is in the Visual and Performing Arts, University of Colombo, 3rd year. What kind of education do you recommend? My younger daughter is in grade 12 in biology stream. So when you say your older daughter, Mr. Kumar Singh, I'm sure you would let her complete her degree and then look at a postgraduate opportunity. So I doubt very much she should be looking at OSSD at this stage. But certainly your younger daughter who is in grade 12, if there is any disruption to A-levels, this might be an alternative route. I'm not too sure how far she has gone. Has she, when you say grade 12, that means first year A-level. If she has completed, that means she has another 1 year to complete in A-level. So you might look at a possible option for her to do OSSD, because OSSD you can complete in 1 year or 10 months, literally. So there is some opportunity for your second daughter, younger daughter, to pursue. If you can give us more details, we'll be happy to advise you. Savitmi, I have already finished my O-levels with 8 credits. Can I follow HR degree in a Canadian university? Yeah, so you cannot get into, based on my knowledge, you cannot use straight up, Savitmi. You will have to do a secondary qualification, A-level, OSSD. So you are a potential candidate for OSSD. Once you do OSSD, you can certainly apply for an HR degree in a Canadian university. That's a possibility. Sahara, your GPA depends on the different courses and the university. So you'll need to be a bit more specific. You need to first identify a potential university that you wish to pursue, and then the particular course. You can actually do research of your own. As I said in my presentation, just feel free to go to any of the websites of the universities and then check the entry criteria. They will specifically mention what the expected GPA is. Our team can give you an indication. I will request our team to contact you, Sahara, and give you a detailed breakdown of our costs relating to the OSSD program. Prasadi, yes, OSSD can take you to literally any stream. You have to pick the particular course units to align yourselves with what you plan to pursue as a career. Culinary management, hospitality, so all that can be pursued once you select the right courses in the OSSD program. And again, we will need to talk to you a bit more to get some idea. So our team will contact you and get more details from you to select the best colleges and then evaluate what are the potential, right. How? Right. Can I take a few more? I know our resource, everybody is waiting. Okay, Mark Joseph, after finishing OSSD, are we entitled as a Canadian student or of an international student when it comes to fees? Relon, I think I'd ask you to just answer that. I know there is a subtle difference between a Canadian student and an international student.
Yeah, great question, Mark. But to answer you, basically your fees in Canadian institutions are based on your citizenship. So if you are a citizen of Canada or a permanent resident of Canada, you pay those fees. If you are an international student, Sri Lankan citizen, for example, you pay international student fees. And that's based on the fact that people who are PR holders or Canadian citizens are part of a tax system, which makes the education subsidized. Therefore, they follow a lower tuition fee for citizens of the country. By completing this program, it does not entitle you to domestic tuition fees because, as mentioned, it's based on your citizenship. But by completing this program, what it does entitle you to is access to domestic entrance scholarships from universities and colleges like UCW or NIC.
Thank you, Relon. I know we need to allow Junko lecturer from Northern Ireland College to leave. Thank you, Junko. Quick, thank you for your participation. Right, there are a few more questions. Chenat is saying, if I could handle a faster pace, can I finish my overseas by June? Chenat, can we have a chat with you on this and align our program? We are starting this October, Shanti. Our next this intake is in October, right?
We have the next one in November.
November, right. So we are getting ready for that. Chinat will reach out to you and just see how whether it fits into our schedule, and we'll give you certainly some advice on that. We can also discuss whether there's a possibility of identifying any potential universities who are willing to consider conditional offers pending your OSSD results. So let's have a chat on that. I have done my, this is Nishika. I have done my A-levels from commerce stream. I was qualified in 80. Once again, Nishika, it all depends on what your results at A-levels are. whether the A levels are good enough to get you into a university of your choice. You need to test that out first. And if your results do not meet the entry criteria of the particular university of choice, then you may have to, you could follow OSSD as a potential alternative. Okay. I think in the interest of those who are following, certainly we will connect up with all of you and we can have another one-to-one discussion. We have your information. So I will allow our Chief Operating Officer, Osanthi Vatavana, to do the concluding remarks.
Thanks, Hiran. I think it's an informative session. Like, there are so many questions coming through even now. I can see sometimes we need to ignore. We'll definitely get back to you if your question is not answered. Let me thank Mr. Relon Nasrat, the Senior Manager Global Education Partnership, Rosedale Academy. Relon, you have always been very supportive to us, AIBS, and thank you so much. Then Ms. Nashya Virvat, Regional Director of South Asia, University Canada West. Thank Nashya for being nearly 2 hours with us. I know how busy you are. Thank you and really appreciate. Then Ms. Junko Leclerc, she has left, but I would like to give my thanks to her on behalf of AIBS team. Then Savinda Veerasinghe, our past student. Savinda, you're always closer to our heart and you'll always be one of our family. Then Mr. Bihan Javadana, the parent, father of the student Michelle Javadana. Mr. Bihan, thank you so much again for your kind words and committing your time for us. Then Mr. Sylvester Gihan and entire AIBS and Emergence marketing teams, thank you for your effortless support to make this event successful. It's a really successful event, and I know that all of the participants must have got information what they need, and we can plan more events like this in future, getting our Railon support as well. And last but not least, all the lovely participants who have spent nearly 2 hours with us. It's 8 o'clock here in Sri Lanka. I know it may be your dinner time, but thank you so much for staying with us, being attentive and sending your questions to us to let us know your interest areas. And thank you for keeping your faith with AIBS, and we will do our best to meet your requirements and support you to meet your goals in the education field. And Hiran, thank you so much for supporting me and the team, as always, being the CEO and the director and looking after both the Emergence and AIBS fronts. So everyone, thank you again and have a good night and stay safe. Looking forward to meet you at AIBS.
Thank you, Nacha. Thank you very much.
Good night all.
Thank you, everyone.
Take
Have a good
Thank
night.
you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.